Welcome back to WagerTalk.com's College Bowl action. New Year's Eve day, we've got Houston at Florida State. Bryan, with any bowl game, the first thing you got to do when you sit down, at least I do, is I try to look at the two teams and I say, are they both happy to be here? And I got to tell you, Jimbo Fisher for Florida State has done a great job since he's taken over, Florida State from Bobby Bowden. If he gets this team motivated to play in this game, I'm going to have a newfound respect for him. Even though I like him already, he's going to have an even higher respect for me because I don't know how you get Florida State excited about playing in this bowl game after you were the national champion 2 years ago and you were in the playoff last year to repeat as the national champion, and now you're playing at 12 noon on New Year's Eve day. Come on.
I think he will get this team motivated, and if he does, it's the big story of the game, is who will be motivated to be there. Houston really wants to be here. Obviously, they get to play a big boy. But I think there's a couple reasons why Florida State may be here. Number one, you talked Jimbo Fisher. There was rumors he was going to LSU. There was a lot of rumors. They were in discussions on him going to LSU. So that's good for Florida State that he stayed there. And number two, Cook, the excellent running back, got shut out of the Heisman Trophy. He didn't even get a chance to travel to New York for the Heisman Trophy presentation. I think they've got something to prove here, so we may be on different sides of this game.
Yeah, we're probably going to be the way you're giving me your lead into this game here. Houston, they did everything asked of them, and they were one game away, and boy, do they wish they had that Connecticut game. We talked about the Connecticut game in a previous video. They lose by 3 points, and they had 4 turnovers in the game. And you and I know what turnovers mean in football, and the fact that they gave away 4 possessions in that game and still only lost by 3 points really tells you how superior they were of a team that day, and they still almost pulled it out. Off that loss, they could have felt sorry for themselves because they were undefeated at the time, but they regrouped and really realigned to what their season goal was, because nobody at the beginning of the season realistically thought we're going to go undefeated and play for the national championship.
There was people out there talking about
as the season went.
Before the season, there was some guys that I respect that really talked highly of Houston.
But Houston,
more because of the schedule.
Because of the schedule, but to play, because there was at a time, because that conference was so strong with Houston, Memphis, Temple, all those teams playing well this year. There was talk that if one of them was able to run the table and go undefeated, if Temple was able to beat Notre Dame and then one of those other ones knocked off Temple to stay undefeated, that there were scenarios that people said, you're going to have to sneak one of these teams in.
One of the New Year's Bowls.
Yeah. In a long shot, it actually even possibly backdooring into if depending on what the top 4 did, if somebody had 2 losses or, a bad loss that was still hanging in there in a 4 pitcher, I don't think it would have ever happened, but it was good for talk show radio. Everybody was saying one of them could have snuck in. And Houston or Memphis was the team to do it. In Memphis, because they already had beaten an SEC team, had a leg up if they would have ran the table, but they didn't, and then Houston was the next candidate. But I look at this and I say they did their season goal. They won the conference championship. They're here in a bowl. They're getting to play a big boy, as you said. They're playing a Power 5 conference team, not any Power 5 conference team. They're playing a team that 2 years ago was the national champion and last year had a chance to repeat. I just don't know, the kids from Florida State, they're great, but boy, we saw it last year in some of the games. It's like they weren't mentally focused, and they fell behind, and then they had to rally to just barely win, because that's what, even though they were undefeated at the end of the season, there was people that said they didn't deserve to be in the playoff last year. Do you think those kind of kids, that they have the character to line up here?
That's the question. But, I took a look at this Florida State roster. Next year, they're loaded. And they're playing really good ball right now. They've been a very good second-half team. If the season ended right now, we always talk about teams you don't want to play. There's not many teams right now that want to play Florida State if Florida State is motivated. They've got these extra 4 weeks or whatever to prepare for this. They got a loaded team coming up next year. You got a running back who's on a mission, and they know they have their head coach here. I think we find out a lot about Florida State in this game. If Florida State comes to play, Florida State will be awesome next year based on the talent coming in and the way this program's going. But they have to be motivated to play here. and then we won't find out until the game starts.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and make it official. I like Houston here. I just don't see Florida State being able to do it. I'll give them credit. After they lost to Clemson, which ended their, that was the last significant game for them because they could have beat Clemson, still win the conference and everything. They did win their final 3 games. Their final 3 games were against NC State that plays no defense. They scheduled Tennessee Chattanooga at the end of the season. How do you get Tennessee Chattanooga on your schedule late? And then they played a Florida team, a rivalry game, but Florida has no offense at all. They hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th, scored 2 points in that one. They got their 2 points on a safety. That's it. I'm not sold on Florida State, and I will disagree with you about being happy that Jimbo Fisher's still there. That's like your girlfriend breaks up with you for a day because she's going to date the starting quarterback, and then the starting quarterback dumps her and she comes back to you.
But there was talk. The cheerleader.
Okay, he was heading to LSU maybe if the job was his, and it just didn't work out. So I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and make it official. I'm taking Houston plus the points. I think it'll be a barn burner. I think both teams are going to score. I'll take Houston plus the points. We're looking at a full touchdown here. Grab it now while it is a touchdown. I would feel much better with +7 in case it goes below. That's it for this one. Don't forget, $69 weekend all access. You can get everybody Thursday through Monday. Pick your favorite capper. Get all of his plays. He's Bryan Leonard. I'm Marco D'Angelo. We're taping on Wednesday, so it's before Christmas. So Merry Christmas. And if you're watching this on game day, an early Happy New Year.